have you noticed how Patrick gets those insane instances of super genius and sometimes rampant rage just suddenly out of nowhere? And then he's just back to normal like a goldfish with a 3-second memory. Well, this here's a crazy theory of why that happens, but you'll soon be nodding your head thinking, whoa, that actually makes sense. By now we know the writers of SpongeBob don't just write things by accident. There's meaning behind everything. Ever heard of CIA sleeper agents, MK Ultra, Bikini Atoll, and how the anatomy of a starfish actually work? Well, you're about to find out how all those things fit together. We know Patrick Star as SpongeBob's lovable, hilarious, overweight, and obscenely dumb friend and neighbor.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No! This is Patrick!
He literally lives under a rock and isn't bothered by much, normally. But there are parts of him, dangerous parts, that are hidden to us. The fish people of Bikini Bottom, but also himself. Often, we see these concealed traits of Patrick reveal themselves, many times in specific situations, but then, in an instant, he's back to his normal self, like nothing even happened. I believe that Patrick himself has forgotten who he really is, either because of some accident or as a clandestine plan by the secret organization that planted him in Bikini Bottom. But I also believe something has gone terribly wrong with his psychological programming, and he's caught between his current world of naive whimsy and a past one of unimaginable danger. And this often comes out in terrifying ways. Patrick has a way of losing his mind and evolving to a raging gorilla at the most inopportune times, sometimes for no reason at all. In the episode Valentine's Day, SpongeBob's gift to Patrick is delayed, and he ends up having to go with Plan B, giving him a handshake. When Patrick sees all the wonderful gifts SpongeBob gave to his other friends, he completely loses it, breaking, tearing down, and basically destroying everything that's heart-shaped. I mean, the dude's strength is inhuman, or in starfish. You know what I mean. In Wigstruck, we see Patrick reacting rather harshly to a new wig that SpongeBob is trying out. He body slams SpongeBob, punches him repeatedly, and viciously scrapes his head against a rock, screaming, "I'll save you from that brain-eating alien that's attacking your head." Almost like he'd been trained to do this, and some programmed instinct kicked in. In Big Pink Loser, we see Patrick sweeping the floor of the Krusty Krab with the wrong side of the broom, and getting madder each second because he can't get it right. Because why? Hear me out, this was not part of his secret training, and when things don't make sense to Patrick, it triggers his rage. But this is only the beginning of what I found out. Sometimes unknown events trigger something else in Patrick. CIA black operatives often involved in covert operations are typically characterized by the following traits. They're strategically minded. After a giant blue-lipped clam steals and eats Mr. Krabs' prized millionth dollar in clams, the gang tries to catch the clam to get the dollar back. But after 3 weeks of no success, Patrick comes up with a plan out of nowhere. They're highly skilled. In an episode called Squidtastic Voyage, Patrick and SpongeBob travel into Squidward's body using Sandy's miniaturized submarine. When Squidward's stomach acid starts to eat away at them, it's Patrick that comes up with this idea, and immediately forgot he had it again. They know how to blend in. And then finally, this one is a bit subtle, but the fact that Patrick knows that it's fancy to lift your pinky while drinking tea says a lot. Special operatives need to be able to look comfortable in any situation, and would know the right etiquette and protocol for those situations. So now we know that Patrick has sporadic bouts of rage, and also moments of miraculous clarity and genius. But how does it all fit together? Are these really signs that he's some CIA sleeper agent, or perhaps went through something traumatic and now suffers from PTSD? I have a fantastic theory. I believe it's a combination of both superintelligence programmed into his mind, as well as PTSD. Just listen to this story that he tells SpongeBob.
Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
I mean, whoa. Something horrible must have happened before Patrick showed up in Bikini Bottom. That story didn't come from nowhere. But now, things are about to get even weirder. We know that Bikini Bottom exists at the bottom of Bikini Atoll, which was IRL bombed and experimented on vigorously between 1946 and 1958. We also know that MK Ultra, which was classified and made public by the CIA in 1975, happened in 1953, smack bam in the middle of the Bikini Atoll bombings. Still with me? MK Ultra was a secret CIA program launched in 1953 that aimed to develop mind control techniques and other ESP, using drugs like LSD and other methods. The program conducted experiments on unsuspecting US citizens, often leading to severe psychological harm, and many believe that these people walked among us, ready to be activated at any moment. Could it be that MK Ultra, Patrick, and the Bikini Atoll experiments are all connected? I do believe so.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Patrick was a part of MK Ultra, and then sent to Bikini Atoll/Bikini Bottom, either to be destroyed or deployed. It perfectly explains his rage and random intelligence.
Bob, sometimes we have to go deep inside ourselves to solve our problems.
You said it, Patrick. Much, much deeper. I believe he was deployed to Bikini Bottom rather than sent there to be destroyed. And the reason for this is his family, if that is who they really are. His father, Herb, his mother, Margie, and his sister, Sam Starr. What's strange is that they look a lot like him. Like, a lot. Like, they could be clones, with some added mustaches, wigs, and boobies here and there. And honestly, starfish clones are easy to make. You just rip a leg off and a new one grows from it. Science. Look it up. And I believe these family of clones were made for a reason. Every sleeper agent has a handler, someone who tells them what to do and collects information. For example, Jason Bourne is a character who gets instructions from handlers to complete his missions. They're like secret bosses who make sure these agents do their jobs without getting caught. The starfish posing as Patrick's family were actually meant to be his handlers, but something went horribly wrong, and they also forgot their roles. Or they just acclimated to their surroundings and began living as regular starfish, blending into everyday life. I really believe that massive change occurs in animals when they go from the real world to Bikini Bottom. But damn, I wish I could get some DNA testing done to prove this. But alas, I live in the real world. In the episode I'm with Stupid, this happens, telling us that Patrick does not recognize these people as his parents and probably forgot that they were his handlers. What's even more suspicious is that in Patrick's own spin-off, how the heck do you explain that? Were the old clones taken out by the CIA? And did Patrick even notice? Side note, now that I think about it, Patrick is definitely the Manchurian Candidate of Bikini Bottom. Go watch the movie if you don't get that reference. It'll all make so much sense. But talking about things that make sense, this next part doesn't. Or didn't, at least, until I did my homework. There's a good reason I haven't mentioned this episode yet, because at first, I thought it disproved my whole theory. Patrick's Smart Pants is the episode where Patrick is smarter and more cultured than in any other instance. This happens because he falls down a cliff and literally loses his forehead. After SpongeBob reattaches his forehead to his body, something magical happens, and a new connection gets made inside Patrick's brain, and suddenly, his brain starts working in ways it never had before. He seems to be interested in nature, art, science, and almost any music, losing interest in all the dumb activities he and SpongeBob enjoyed. So at first I thought, okay, cool, there was just a loose wire somewhere in that fat pink noggin of his, and now it's fixed. All his training has come back. But then we realized that it was never Patrick's forehead that SpongeBob screwed on, but a piece of brain coral. That really looks a lot like a Patrick appendage. You can't really blame poor SpongeBob. What a brain coral is another enigma, but we'll get into that in some other episode. Anyway, after SpongeBob found Patrick's real forehead with the help of Smart Patrick, Patrick was once again rendered stupid and fun, and everyone was happy again. Except me, because I tried to figure out how this could possibly fit into my CIA theory, and I almost sneakily left this part out of this essay. But then I decided I'm not like that. I'm a true SpongeBob scholar, and the truth needs to come out, and I needed to go deeper. So I did. My problem with this episode is that the new forehead extension didn't really make him smarter. It only actually gave him new cultural skills and creative prowess, not CIA skills at all, while a part of him still remained the old Patrick. Then I realized starfish don't have heads. You heard me right. All their limbs are the same, they're all legs, and none of them have a brain inside it. Instead of brains, starfish have nerve rings in their centers, so it's almost like their hearts are also their brains. Instead of disproving my theory, this actually proves my theory even more because his nerve ring could be where all his CIA training and programming are stored, lying dormant and ready to be activated. That missing piece in his center might just be the key to his hidden genius, capable of transforming him from the lovable goofball into a highly trained operative in an instant. Remember, outside of the water is reality and real-world rules apply. Under the water, Bikini Bottom has its own rules. So maybe if Patrick never started using one of his arms as head and used his central nervous system instead as intended, he would be different. I wonder though, what would happen if he removed all his limbs and replaced them with brain coral? Do different types of brain coral open passages to different skills? How cool would that be? Maybe that was his mission all along. Or am I just thinking about this too much? Let me know in the comments.